Hello, everybody. Happy Tuesday. Welcome to our day early comic review video. I'm Jason.
I'm Andy.
And we're with Infinity Flux Comics in Chattanooga, Tennessee. So every Tuesday after we're done bagging and boarding all the new comics, we divide up all the issue number ones, all the hot new issues, the latest Moon Knight, of course, and we read through them, and then we do this little review video. We call it Spoiler Light. So what we mean by that is we're going to tell you if there's any major first appearance, major deaths. We're going to tell you all the reasons a comic might be hot this week. But more than that, we're going to tell you what these comics are about without spoiling the fun of reading them yourself. If you read the solicitation on a lot of these, it just doesn't really say a whole lot, especially with like issue number ones. So instead, we read them, we tell you, here's what it's like, here's the plot, here's the premise, here's what the art's like, and that way when you go in your store on Wednesday, Thursday, the weekend, you know which ones sound like they're for you.
Yeah.
So I'd say a pretty strong week this week, a good selection of things. You can already see some of the ones we're going to go over. We have a lot off to the side. We also have variant covers, incentive covers. So without further ado, let's begin.
Yep, I'm starting this week with Darth Vader number 20. So this is, one of my favorite series going on. You don't get much better than a Marvel Darth Vader comic within the past, I don't know how long, but it's just been every issue. I'm always intrigued to see what's going on. It's so fun. And this one is cool because this is the return of Sabe, one of Padme Amidala's handmaidens, who made a big kind of splash at the beginning of this run when she came in, and Darth Vader saw her and kind of saw what would my wife look like at this age. It was a very emotional story.
Yeah, he thought he was seeing a ghost.
Yeah.
Like, it hit him hard.
Yeah, so she's actually back, and we kind of pick up on that story. Back then, Darth Vader had a droid that was kind of his partner. That was like an investigator droid. That droid is back. Sabe has rebuilt him and kind of changed his thing where now Vader had it where if he spoiled anything about Vader's backstory that he had learned or whatever information they learned on their mission, that he would self-destruct. Well, she has changed that now, so he can basically info dump on her about everything that's been going on. So she finds out everything that, Padme was married to Anakin, they had kids, everything. So that kind of really sets us up for an interesting kind of shift in power of knowledge and everything. But this is also a tie-in with the Crimson Reign story. And because of that, we do learn why Sabe is a member of Crimson Dawn, which is a pretty big deal. We're learning a lot of people have secretly been in that the whole time. We also cut to Vader, because he's actually in this book as well, where he has recently got information about who is members of the Crimson Dawn hiding among the ranks of the Imperials, which is super cool because Vader doesn't do any more investigating. He's got a list. He walks into a room. Ochi, his, kind of sidekick now, has a list, and it was literally pointing, going, that guy, that guy, that guy with the weird hat, and Vader's just taking them out left and right. So, this is a really cool issue. A lot of stuff is surprisingly revealed about, this goes deep about who is secretly a member of Crimson Dawn. It's surprised me, one of the characters, so you'll have to read it to see, but the other really big thing about this issue, maybe the biggest thing about this issue, is the variant cover. Yep. So this is going to, we're going to have to explain a little bit about the nature of these variant covers. So it is this Sprouse Lucasfilm 50th anniversary variant. We do not have any more of them. This is my copy that I get to show off here, but this is essentially the first appearance of Din Djarin, the Mandalorian, and Grogu in a comic, or at least on a cover, their first cover appearance. And what is hard about this issue was when we had to place our orders for it, we could not see the cover.
Yep, the cover was not available. All retailers had to place final orders that are unalterable before the cover was revealed.
Yeah, and this has been a series they've been doing, these Lucasfilm 50th anniversary covers. We have people who are signed up to get all of them, so they've gotten the ones from, all the movies, the animated stuff. There's been a lot of them, but now we're getting into the territory of some characters that have never appeared in comics, which is cool. But we didn't know. I assumed at some point we would get there. I had been steadily increasing the orders in anticipation of maybe we're going to get a cover like this. But essentially, you only order, when you can't see a cover, so many of them. We're not going to go all out and it just be, oh, it's a cool cover with Vader on it, but there's 1,000 of those out there. So this is a really good time to remind people, get on pull for things if you want them, if you think, if you want to put your speculator hat on and guess that maybe something's going to be big coming up. I kind of figured something with, since they're doing the 50th anniversary, we're going to start getting some characters from the TV shows and everything now. So don't be surprised if you go to a comic book store and it's not there. This was really hot. We had enough to fill all our subscriptions, all the people that asked for it initially. But there was a point where we had to kind of cut off
after
requests.
The fact. Once they revealed the cover, it heated up everywhere. Yeah. Everyone was looking for it. But here's good news. So Marvel, they knew they did a misstep with that. They often don't have covers ready. But with that one, they were like, uh-oh, we really messed up here. Mm-hmm. So there is a second print coming out. Yeah, the second print, it's already gone to order. But we've ordered a lot. Yeah. I'm sure every other store has ordered a lot. So you can still get the second print of this cover.
Yeah, it's just going to have, instead of the gold border, it's a gray silver border. But it's the same kind of meat of the cover. Yeah. So.
And it'll just be, it won't be out this week. It'll be out a few weeks from here.
Right.
So, but we don't do this show really primarily to sell things. We do this show to inform.
Yeah. Yeah.
So even though we're out of that one, we want everyone to know, here's why, here's how it works.
Yeah.
And if you find it out in the wild, snatch it up.
Yeah. We kind of watch out for our fellow comic book stores of don't be mad at them. They didn't know this was on here. They're not keeping it away from you. It was a hard one to get.
Yes. Okay, so I guess the first one I'm going to go over is Detective Comics issue number 1052. So the cover right here says, "His hold is breaking." So, of course, this Arkham Tower storyline has been a weekly story. And so I've been trying to carefully talk about it without giving away too many details. Because to me, I like for something to be out about a month before you really can say what's been real going on. But this is a weekly thing, so it's going very fast. So here, I'll do my best. So whose hold is breaking? Now we know Arkham Tower is a replacement for Arkham, and we know it has some of the most dangerous criminals in there, but they've been very docile. And I don't mean mindless. They've been happy, they've been nice, but no violent tendencies. And the whole mystery is, how are they doing this?
Yeah, they weren't like zombies.
Right. They're not zombified. They're just sort of seem like they're cured. So the whole cover saying his hold is breaking, that has to do with anyone who's been reading this series knows who that is referring to, but I'm not going to say quite yet. But since the cover says that, come on, you know that there's a person who is affecting all the patients. So last issue, we did see what happened when the hold broke. Basically, the patients kind of came to, and all their villainous tendencies came flooding back in, and there was pretty much a riot. Now, this series has been jumping around in time. Like, even in the first part, they went to day 20-something where things got really crazy. So in this issue, we're back to day 19. This is where everything is fine, but this is where there's that little hiccup where the hold is broken, the spell is broken, and the villains return to villains. But at the same time, you got Huntress. She's in there acting like a patient. Well, she gets back her sort of regular mind as well. And she has a problem I call the memento problem, okay? It's the, oh, I've woken up. Uh-oh, I know I probably won't stay like this. How do I keep the knowledge that something's going on? So you'll have to read the issue to see what she does, but it really is a memento problem. Anyone who's seen the movie knows what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
So let's see, what else is going on in this? So beyond that, we get to see more of what happens when all the patients come to, when all the villains start doing all the bad stuff. It doesn't last long. It's just a little bit of a hiccup. Uh, Outside Arkham Tower, the Bat family, the rest of them, are desperately seeking answers as to what is going on in Arkham Tower. They know things are going to go bad. They know that Huntress is in there and she doesn't want to leave, which is not at all like her. Um, so they search for answers, and it leads them to a crazy party somewhere secret. But I will say, I don't mean party literally.
Oh, it's not like a rave in a cave or something.
No,
like
no.
that.
When you read the issue, it'll make complete sense to you. So that's what's going on in Detective Comics 1051. There is also the backup story they've been doing, the House of Gotham, about the orphans that are being raised to be criminals. You know, the one kid, he's like a sleeper agent, a deep sleeper agent for Scarecrow. Now he's working for Penguin. It's a really interesting, well-told story. Like, I mean, honestly, it could have been a really good comic series on its own.
Yeah, it's surprising because we've seen books like that. They're kind of little standalone
And
miniseries.
it's a lot of parts to it as well. It's not just like a 2-3-parter. So that is continued as well in this week's Detective Comics 1052. And of course, we have a wonderful Lee Bermejo variant.
What a busy man Lee Bermejo must be.
Yes.
Okay, my next one. Really enjoyed. This is Radiant Black, issue number 12. It's hard to see the little 12 there in the bottom. But this is really cool. I feel like Radiant Black has been doing so many things well. I couldn't ask for more in the story than, we got introduced to the main Radiant Black character, but then a few issues later, we found out there's a lot of different color, Radiant Red, and I guess this is Radiant Pink and Radiant Yellow. And they were kind of thrown in there, and we got, quick little hints to kind of their personalities and everything and their backstories. But we've been learning, we're getting a Radiant Red series, which I assume is going to tell a lot of the backstory of Radiant Red. We even got, I think, a one-shot a little while back that explains some. But this one is the origin story of Radiant Pink, and also a little bit of Radiant Yellow's backstory, which, it's one of those things of like, oh, now I feel a bigger connection to them. When I go into the next thing, I'm going to be, rooting for them all the harder because I know about them. And this is cool because our Radiant Pink character is actually a live stream gamer. And so here's the thing. Whenever, I don't know what it is, my age or whatever, when somebody brings something like that in, I get like hypercritical. It's like, are they going to use some like, what old guy thinks is like young, cool, internet lingo and stuff? But this is done really well. I mean, Kyle Higgins, he's a young guy. He gets it. So our main character, she goes by Eva Plays. Her name's Eva. And she's a very popular video game streamer. It's really, it's cool to see. She's got all these people. She does like 24-hour marathons. But when the game goes off, her life is it's a very grueling thing to be part of a world like that. She doesn't go out much. She doesn't see her friends because she's got this successful career. Well, one day her cat, whose name is Kevin McAllister, which I think is great from Home Alone. There's a lot of like real world references that really actually work in this very well. And her cat jumps up and knocks her microphone down and breaks it. And because of this, of course, immediately her internet fans and everything turn on and be like, you were supposed to be live streaming all today and stuff. So where does she go? She goes to Best Buy to get a new mic. But mics are hard to find. But there's a mysterious man there who can fix it. But you'll have to see how this leads her to this Radiant Pink thing, and kind of, in doing so, reshapes her life in a way of like giving her purpose outside of just this kind of job that she does over and over. It's a really cool story. It's funny. I'm so on board for Radiant Black and everything that's going forward with it. So definitely would check out this issue. It is super cool.
And they're headed into that whole shared universe.
Yes, that's the other thing I was going to mention is at the very end, it's like one of the characters like, what you got next for me? And then it's like, next, Supermassive. So Supermassive is the first crossover event between a bunch of different characters that's going to be really cool to see. We have some variants. We have the Sweeney Boo variant. And we have this 1 in 25 Go variant that we are selling for $30 to our customers.
All right, so I read Secret X-Men. This is a one-shot, and you can see the team right here. This team consists of all the people who were on the actual ballot, which, you know, people got to vote on in real life for which team member was going to join the X-Men. These are the ones who didn't win. Of course, Polaris won. She was put on the X-Men team. And then all this was told in the Hellfire Gala story, which definitely comes up in this because all of them are very sad at having lost. So very, very interesting X-Men team. So why are they pulled together? Why is this called Secret X-Men? Basically, the Shi'ar Empire has a problem. I'm not going to, spoil what it is, but they've got a big problem, and they need the help of the X-Men. So Deathbird reaches out to who she has been told is the leader of the X-Men, and she thinks it's Sunspot because he's been lying. He's been fibbing.
That's very Sunspot.
It is. So they go to him like, hey, you're the leader of the X-Men, right? And he's like, oh, sure. Okay, so all of a sudden, Sunspot needs an actual X-Men team. And at the same time, his ego was bruised because they didn't choose him at the Hellfire Gala. So he realizes, I know who I'll ask. All the other people who lost the vote, too. Mm-hmm. But we got to keep this on the down low, because obviously Professor X is not going to be cool with this.
It hasn't been condoned by the council.
And this is a pretty important mission, too. So that's what they're doing. Now, what is the mission? I'm not going to reveal that. But let's just say this is a space adventure. This is a one-shot. It's sort of like an exercise one-shot. I think it's like a 30-pager. Mm-hmm. And there's a lot of action to it, a lot of action in space as they try to do their mission. There's a lot of characters, but you get some good time with everyone. Mm-hmm. I was a little worried with a team this big and a one-shot, how can you have them all do stuff? But it's juggled quite well. So as far as do they complete the mission or not, you'll have to read about that. Also, who is really pulling the strings here? And will the Secret X-Men be back? By the end, it does not definitively tell you, but there's a hint. There's a pretty big hint as to, is this just a one-time thing or will there be more? So a fun one-shot. I mean, sometimes you just got to get away from the big overarching, Deaths of Wolverine and Lies of Wolverine. That stuff is awesome. But sometimes you just need to go into space with a team led by a great liar.
Yeah.
Full of different personalities and get to see them all use their powers for once. On top of that, what would Marrow look like if she built herself a spacesuit out of bone?
That's
you
pretty
will
cool.
see that. You will see that in this issue. So I knew if all the rest of the things I said didn't tantalize, that would do it. Okay, so we've got this Tony Daniel variant.
Oh, nice. With the best friends.
Yep.
Sunspot and Cannonball.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, my next one is... And I actually only have the variant here for it. This is the Harley Quinn Eat, Bang, Kill Tour, issue 6. This is the Chew variant, actually. And this is our final issue. I am very sad to see this series end. This has been such a crazy ride.
It's been a runaway hit. Like, I would not be surprised if they did a volume 2 or a second series to this.
Yeah, so there's not a whole lot to say about this since it's wrapping up the story. Harley has been taken captive by, what is his name? Mephitic, who I had to look up what that meant. It's like gas. It's like airborne gas type thing, which makes sense because he's very gross looking. And Ivy pulls together a team of some characters they've met along the way, some characters from the show, all of that, to go get her back. It is a great wrap-up to this series that's been so popular. At the end, does it say to be continued? It says to be continued in Season 3 of the show. Not a surprise there, but I have a feeling with as popular as this has been, they have to be looking at doing a follow-up.
Right.
You know,
Hopefully with the same creative team.
yes, that's, I don't know. It feels like all the pieces came together just right. The art, the writing, everything uh, mirrors the show, but also uh, you don't have to have read or watched the show to enjoy it.
Mm.
So very good. Issue 6 of Harley Quinn Eat Bang Kill Tour.
All right, so it is February, and I don't know how many of you think about this in February. As comics fans, I just don't know how much this holiday is like one of our big ones, but Valentine's Day is coming up. So DC has launched Strange Love Adventures, their one-shot. This is a $9.99 book, so it's like quadruple sized. It has many different tales, all having to do with DC heroes and Valentine's Day and love and relationships. So some pretty cool stories in this. But first and foremost, for those of you who buy things based on spec, I will just go ahead and say straight up, this is the first full appearance of Eagly. That is Peacemaker's companion and friend and roommate from the super hit show. Eagly's first comic full appearance. Now, he was on a cover before.
That was like based off of the show.
Yeah.
Right, they were doing like characters from the show.
Correct. So first cover appearance is a different thing, but this is first full appearance, which usually matters more. So that's the one fear with these like anthology issues.
Are they gonna slip something in there?
So Eagly is in this. I wanted to get that out there. But for those of you who just want it for the read, it is a fun read. Of course, this is a lot of various artists and writers, a lot of talent in this book. There's a story with Black Adam, who decides that maybe Harley should be his princess. So he goes after Harley Quinn. And Shazam's kind of there and doesn't like it. So they end up kind of fighting over Harley. That's the opening story.
Yeah.
Which was really good.
I need context for why Black Adam would see Harley like that.
And why he says it. He totally kind of explains to her why maybe she's the right match for him. Then there's another story where Barry Allen gets home and Iris isn't alone. There's a supervillain there, and he's a little jealous, but of course there's more to it than it seems. Yeah. And maybe by the end of it, they'll end up on a double date with Gorilla Grodd and a Gorilla Girl. Who knows? And I'd say my favorite story was the Peacemaker one. So you get to discover who Peacemaker's one true love is. And of course, there's a lot of violence to that story.
All in the name of creating a peaceful world.
Yes. And there's a bunch more stories in that. In fact, a few of them have Batman in it. Batman's in multiple stories in here, but he is not the focal point of either of the stories. It's always like people in his Bat family or around him, which I think is cool. You know, we get Batman all over the place. We gotta let the side characters sing. So we have this one variant cover by Amanda Connor. I think it's very awesome. Just dating game reminiscent.
I love when she does covers that like you look at for a while and you can basically read the story of what's going on and through characters' expressions and all of that.
Yep.
Okay, it's next time to check in with X Deaths of Wolverine. It's going to be harder and harder to keep these straight as we go forward with X Lives and X Deaths. So, X Lives is the one that I feel like more closely follows Wolverine. It's interesting that X Deaths, I assume that they're going to kind of merge together at some point, but for right now, this is a Myra McTaggart story. This is her after Inferno on the run from Mystique and Destiny. And what we saw at the end of the last issue is there is a mysterious new Wolverine that has sprung up from a pod in Krakoa. Krakoa kind of shifted around, and this organic pod came out with this very tech-looking Wolverine who seems to have an agenda of his own that involves maybe Myra, maybe Mystique, maybe Destiny. We don't know 100% for sure who he's actually going after, but not a whole lot is going to stop him. He's definitely is closer to the very savage version of Wolverine, where like, you know, he's just going to tear through you. He doesn't care to get to his goal. Now, what is crazy about this is Myra is, I mean, she is tough. She does some stuff in this that is like, oh wow, like hardcore. She'll do whatever to get away from being tracked, no matter how painful it may be. So she's really cool in this. I really like her progression as a character. I never thought she would be a character that would end up being like
You turn into Linda Hamilton.
she's almost, it reminds me more of like Terminator 2, where she like, oh, you know, the first one, oh, what's her name, the main girl in Terminator,
Linda Hamilton's character.
oh yeah, Linda Hamilton, where she, you know, she's kind of like figuring out, but the second one she's like, I'm ready for this now.
Yep.
Very similar to that, with like she's playing traps, she's doing all of that to get away from Mystique. And is she super successful with one of them? It would appear so, to the point of there's some skeletons laying around, and she might have actually won this this conflict. But the other interesting thing is where the hints we get of where this Wolverine has come from, because I had my theories after the first one.
You did. I remember. I was waiting to see
that could still be somewhat true, about, you know, maybe tying in with what's going on with Sabretooth and everything, but I'm not sure. It could be more tied in with what's going on in X Lives of Wolverine, which would make more sense. But it definitely opens up a whole new can of worms for, you know, we've essentially got two Wolverines right now. What's going to happen with that? Are they going to end up facing off? Could be really cool. I hope we get to see that. But this was another really good issue. There wasn't a whole lot revealed. There was a lot hinted at. But it was a great read. The art's great. It was really fun. We've got, of course, a lot of variants for it. So we've got the Bagley trading card variant, the Weapon X. We've got, this is a very different one. I think it's because there's so much black on it. This is a Peach Momoko cover. Very unique for a Momoko cover.
Yeah, that's incredible. I would not have guessed that.
I didn't realize it until I saw the name in the corner and kind of looked a little closer about the line work and everything, which matched, but really spreading her chops out there. Then this one is funny. So this is the Kari Andrews Omega Design spoiler variant. I'll just say right here, at least for what I've read so far, I've read all the issues, does not spoil anything yet. So this is the Omega spoiler variant. Maybe at some point Wolverine will live in a world with flying jellyfish.
Yeah.
I don't know. I hope we get to see this.
Old Wolverine ends up in a Yashitaka Amano world.
Very much so, yeah.
Jellyfish.
It's going to be doing some like turn-based fighting and everything. Oh, and then we have one more. We have the 1 in 25 Fuji anime style variant. Wolverine just enjoying the company of cats, probably in a cat cafe. Really fun. That we are selling to our customers for $20.
All right, so my favorite Marvel read of the week was easily Moon Knight number 8. So those of you who read the first Devil's Reign, Wilson Fisk, Kingpin, who is the mayor of New York City, has outlawed all mass vigilantes. And in Devil's Reign number 1, he arrested a bunch of them, including Mark Spector, Moon Knight. So while Moon Knight is gone, who is going to continue the Midnight Mission? I'll tell you who. It's Hunter's Moon. This is the Hunter's Moon issue.
Oh, cool.
So Moon Knight's not in this at all. Instead, Hunter's Moon has taken over as a fellow priest of Khonshu. Now, a lot of that, I've been saying allegedly, because, you know, this guy just came in early into this series.
Made a lot of claims.
Yeah, like, hey, Moon Knight, I'm another Moon Knight, and I'm just as good as you. You know, if you're the left hand, I'm the right hand, or, you know, vice versa. Yeah. So a lot of that has been cleared up, and by the end of this issue, it's all cleared up. Like, so in this, he is keeping the Midnight Mission going. Actually, I should pause to tell you. So early in this issue, it refers in an asterisk to Devil's Reign #1 and Devil's Reign Moon Knight one shot. I just want to make sure anybody who reads this understands that the printing order has flipped around a bit. Devil's Reign Moon Knight one shot is not out yet, so you didn't miss it. Because yeah, I got to that, and see, I had read a preview. As retailers, sometimes we get previews. I read a preview of it the other week, and I was like, wait a minute, that's not out yet. I double checked, and sure enough, it isn't. So you have not missed the Devil's Reign Moon Knight one shot. Mm-hmm. It's coming out early March, which, by the way, it's fantastic. It's what Moon Knight's doing in prison. It reminds me a lot of Rorschach in prison. Mm-hmm. Like, you know, Moon Knight is a tough individual.
He's not stuck in there with them. They're stuck in there with him.
Yeah. So back to this book. So outside, Hunter's Moon is approached because someone is killing people, but they're doing it in a way that is reminiscent of an old Moon Knight character. This is from a way long ago previous series. This character loves stained glass. That's my hint. If you know enough Moon Knight, you'll know what I'm talking about. If you don't, by the end of the issue, you will. The thing is, this person was supposed to have been killed. This person was killed off. Now, it is comics. How much do people stay killed off? So the question is, are they the ones out there doing the killing and the vigilantism, or is somebody else taking up the mantle? You will learn by the end of this. This story is sort of a one-shot. It gets wrapped up by the end. But what a great one-shot it is. The story is awesome. Jed MacKay, he's just a great writer. Yeah. The art is incredible. And by the end of this, Hunter's Moon, you get to see more of the breadth of his power, which is a lot. I mean, we know how powerful Moon Knight is. Moon Knight, he went toe-to-toe with the Avengers.
Yeah.
So it makes you wonder, is this guy that tough? He may be. Like, read the issue. You'll see what I'm talking about. Yeah. There are some powerful entities that make an appearance in this issue and do battle. It's awesome. It's a really cool issue. I don't think I have to convince anybody to read this. I don't think anyone has fallen off this. But if for some reason you did, this is the one to pick back up.
I love the cover, really too, issue. Which is almost the same as the issue #1 cover, but with Hunter's Moon instead of Moon Knight on there.
There you go.
Which is a cool side-by-side.
Yep. So, awesome issue. And there's also sort of an epilogue where a new rising villain has escaped from Ravencroft. And if you look carefully enough, you can figure out who in the art. So, we have this X-Gwen variant by Greg Land.
Todd Knock.
I'm sorry. Good catch. This is Todd Knock. This is not Greg Land. So, and then we also have, this is the Greg Land.
Yes.
The 1 in 25 Greg Land variant that we're selling to our customers for $40.
I love we're in a time where, like, the hot books of the week are like Moon Knight and stuff. You know, characters that when I was younger, like, it would be when the characters you go up to your friends and be like, have you ever heard of Moon Knight?
Yeah.
And they're like, no. And you're like, oh, man, he's so cool.
And you inevitably they would tell you, oh, he's Batman ripoff.
Yeah.
So
I'm glad that these characters are really getting a chance to define themselves.
Moon Knight series has been incredible.
Okay, so next one is, sadly, the final issue of Star Wars Adventures. It's a little hard to find online or wherever that this is the final issue, but issue 14 is the final one. At least published with IDW. Right. We don't know if Dark Horse is going to continue with the Adventures kind of subtitle, or if they've got all new plans all of their own. But this finally wraps up the Star Wars Adventures series with a pretty cool final issue. It doesn't quite go out with, you know, this is not an oversized deluxe final issue or anything. But it does end, it's got the second part of this Rey story that's kind of our A story in here that started in the previous issue. That's a lot of fun. But the one I wanted to focus on is the B story, which is, I mean, only maybe 4 or 5 pages long. It's pretty short, but it features our first publisher crossover that I thought would come when we got this character. And I'll show you with the variant. This is the Brokenshire variant. This is Diva Lumpop, who we got, her first appearance was in War of the Bounty Hunters, right, published through Marvel.
Was it War of the Bounty Hunters Jabba?
Yes, it was
Yeah.
the Jabba issue. And we learned in that she was, her species can live a really long time. She's a new bounty hunter character that was just created at Marvel, but this is the first time she's jumping over to IDW, and I think that's really interesting. So I'm not sure too many other, like, we haven't got like Black Chrysanthemum in a Star Wars Adventures or anything. We haven't got any that started one and went to the other. But the other thing about this is, in War of the Bounty Hunters, that was kind of the modern, or at least the original trilogy era. But she talked about that she's been alive a long time. Well, in this, she's actually in the High Republic era. So we see, this is 200 years before her first appearance. And so I really think that they are planting a lot of seeds that this character is going to start popping up more and more often as they kind of enrich her backstory. Also with this, we learn, what was she doing around that time? Was she good? Was she bad? You'll be probably pretty surprised to find out where her allegiances lie at this point in time. So I think this is really cool. Very interesting way to end the series with just a short story about her helping a little girl deal with some bullies. And probably not the best way possible. Probably didn't leave a good lasting impression on the little girl, but really cool issue for Star Wars Adventures number 14, the last issue.
All right, so I'm going to talk about a new indie book from Ablaze. This is called Life Zero. And the first thing I'll say is the art in it is by Marco Cicchetto, and it is top-notch. Just the interior art is incredible. I'm knocking over my Prestige Plus comic over here. Okay. So the premise of this is a zombie apocalypse book, but it's not like full-on apocalypse yet, meaning entire cities have been affected, but not like every city. You know what I mean? It's sort of an ongoing thing. So what type of zombies? That's always my first question. Anytime somebody, zombie movie, zombie book, what sort of zombies? They appear to be the slow-moving zombies. They don't appear to really think much. And it looks like, I'm not sure if they can infect you by biting, because in this, it's all tied in with some weird, mysterious cloud that flies in, kills everybody, and then anybody who's remaining gets attacked by the zombies. So they haven't revealed if you can be infected. So this plot is about an elite military group who goes into one of these infected cities because they're going to break their captain out of prison. Now, why he's there, I'm not sure. This is going to be continued in further issues. But I have to say, one of the scariest places to me you can be when zombies are hitting is probably prison. Walking Dead did that. I mean, you don't want to be where you're like stuck somewhere. So they break in to get the captain out, and of course, it doesn't go to plan. Things go wrong. It looks like this series is going to be pretty bloody, pretty gory. So if you're looking for a new zombie series, we haven't had Walking Dead other than reprints in a long time. This might be one to sign up on. The art, though, really top notch. Yeah. Cicchetto art. Of course, he's doing Devil's Reign right now. Yeah. He's been doing Daredevil. So if you've read any of that, you've been enjoying the art. It's like that, but darker, obviously.
Yeah, he did a run on Punisher with, I believe, Greg Rucka. And when I flipped through that, I was like, oh, this looks a lot like his Punisher stuff, because it's, gritty walls and floors and kind of disheveled people and everything.
All right, so check this out. It's got a variant. This is the Casas variant. This, of course, is an homage to X-Men issue 133. So that should be Wolverine there hitting everyone. And that's the first solo Wolverine issue. Like the first issue where it was just Wolverine all by himself. The really cool homage to that. And then there's also this 1 in 10 Virgin variant of the regular cover by Cicchetto that we're selling to our customers for $15.
Next up, we're checking in with Superman, Son of Kal-El. This is number 8. And this is the second part of our story involving Aqualad, Jackson Hyde, and Aquaman. And in this, the corporation Bendix, which has kind of been a ongoing background threat of this whole series, has unleashed their kind of own brand of superheroes to stop this giant sea monster from attacking a city. And the whole time, Jonathan Kent is like, it's only attacking because you attacked it first and everything. But Bendix wants to show off how good their heroes are, and tells them to continue firing. It's an interesting issue. It's kind of once again, Jonathan dealing with, it's not that easy being Superman when people around you don't have the same ideals you do and are more interested in their own gains than everyone else's, and trying to balance that. The other big thing in it is Jay, who is the leader of the kind of underground news network called The Truth, has been putting the invitation out there for Jonathan to join them. And it seems like Jonathan has finally made his decision if he's going to join this group. You have to check it out and see, because I feel like this is really going to start getting into some interesting territory with, is the Truth group 100%, good, above ground, everything, or is there something else going on behind the scenes? You'll have to read it to find out, but another cool installment of Superman, Son of Kal-El.
I mean, I've said it before, but any group who calls themselves the Truth Group,
yeah,
there's no way. I mean, they've got to have some skeletons in their closet, but
we'll you may
see.
Be right.
We'll see. Okay, so I read from DC Black Label, it is Suicide Squad Blaze. This, of course, as you can see, is in Prestige Plus format. Prestige, of course, is the way that they bind it. The plus is that it's really big. It's sort of magazine size. So and with this being Black Label, it's supposed to be a little bit more mature, which it is. So this is an interesting issue. It's going to take a little bit of explanation. Amanda Waller is building a different sort of Suicide Squad, and the reason is there's a new villain out there. I guess here's how I should put it. What if somebody came along who was super powerful, like almost godlike power, but they were very much like an animal. They didn't think about what they were doing, and so all they cared about was eating, mating. Well, that would probably be pretty terrible for humanity.
Yeah.
They would just use us like a toy, abuse people, do terrible, gruesome things because they're not thinking. You can't reason with something like that. Well, in a world with so many superheroes, one day something like that's going to happen, and that's to this day. So Amanda Waller is going to put together a new super team. She's going to use this process called Blaze, which powers up the person like crazy, but they only have 3 months to live. Now, is she going to get Harley, King Shark, Peacemaker, and Captain Boomerang to agree to this? The short answer is no. They're not going to agree to that. So what's different in this one is they are going to mentor the people who do agree to this, which are going to be some new characters you've never seen before. These are other people who are in Blackgate, but they're not necessarily superpowered. And the way for them to get into the experiment is they have to get past our four, people here. And I mean, it's no holds barred. They can do anything they want. They have to get past them, and whoever's able to get past them can do this experiment. Of course, not everyone wants to. You're going to die in 3 months, but for 3 months, you're going to have these awesome abilities. So that's the premise. I think it's interesting. It's not just a regular Suicide Squad. It's sort of a mentoring Suicide Squad. But I will say they're not very good mentors.
I could imagine they probably wouldn't be the best.
Yeah, we're talking about Harley and Peacemaker, King Shark, Captain Boomerang. They are some very harsh mentors. And so a lot of dark humor, some really funny but messed up situations. I had a great time reading it. It's a long read too, because the Black Label books are just, they take their time with them. Yeah. So it feels like you read 3 comics. I mentioned earlier Peacemaker was in the Valentine's one-shot. Well, he's in this too. So he's in 2 books this week.
Yeah.
He just can't get enough books now that his show is a hit. So I think that's really cool. So if you like Suicide Squad, if you enjoyed the last film, it definitely has a little bit of that feel.
Yeah.
So, and we have a variant by, here is the Bergera variant.
Which, I mean, could be two of DC's top characters right there on the cover together.
That is true. And neither are Batman.
And neither are Batman. That's number 2 and number 3. Okay, my next one is one putting out the alert to everyone, because Avengers number 53 is gonna have some people rush into the comic book store. Now, this kind of stuff can go either way. This could end up being a big deal. It could end up, not going further than the next issue. But what's big about this is Black Panther gets a new suit. Now, characters get new suits a lot. They get a new button somewhere. Captain America puts spikes on a shield. Something. But in this one, they are going up against these kind of multiversal versions of of Doctor Doom and various other, the Kid Thanos. But the Doom is kind of the big threat, and so Black Panther must create some armor that can go up against a magic character. And with that, he puts together a suit. See if I can actually say what this is made out of. It is made of thrice blessed vibranium Dombe boxing cords. I don't know what that is, but it's fancy sounding. Stones from the Wakandan necropolis. Armor metallicized Orisha blood. And when all those come together, he calls himself the Red Panther, because the suit has a little red hint to it. He's got kind of like, his gloves have like little bits sticking off of them. I don't know if that's like part of the necropolis stuff for punching. But this is already being talked about, for the people who have seen it early in some of the retailer groups and everything, that anytime Black Panther comes up, there's something about him, it explodes right now because of his popularity, the movies, everything. Will this appear in a movie or something? Who knows? Not super likely, but it is a cool design. And I'm interested to see kind of it in action.
Yeah, when they give a name to it, that means
yeah,
more.
That's the thing. Like, you can do everything, but when you're like tag something, especially all
when
the characters,
call him Red Panther.
Red Panther is like, okay, now people can say first appearance of the Red Panther or whatever, the Red Panther armor. It's almost like all the different names for Iron Man suits. It's the first appearance of the Iron Centurion suit or whatever. It's going to be along those lines, but. This series has been going on for a while. Stores may have started to limit how many they've ordered. So be aware that this one may be a little bit harder to find since it's not a number 1 or anything. But everything Black Panther, super cool, super hot right now. So it's our A cover for it. Also, something big happens in the very end that's going to definitely leave the Avengers scrambling. We have the Romero X-Gwen variant where she's being Kitty Pryde with Lockheed. And this is another one that we did not have the cover when we had to place our orders. And so this one I feel like it's going to be a little harder to find because of that. This is the Sway Black History Month variant. Oh wait, this is for Devil's Reign. But anyways, this one's going to be hard to find as well. In my hard to find corner.
Okay, so I read Maestro World War M #1. This is sort of the third part to Peter David's trilogy. I think this is going to be the end of it when it's over, showing how Maestro came to power. All the different steps. So this isn't after all the stuff. This is sort of during it. Doctor Doom is still around. Maestro has just sent missiles at the AIM base and destroyed AIM. But in doing so, he has released their prisoners, the few that survive, and the main one is Abomination. So Abomination is sort of our main character in this, as he's been held in prison a long time, doesn't know what's going on in the world above, gets up there, finds out, with a little help from an old XMen villain, actually. And so he's on the world above. He finds out what's going on. and he ends up running into Namor. So Namor's in this, and they might try to team up, try to figure out how they can deal with Maestro, who's just getting more and more powerful. And I guess the last thing I'll leave you with is there's a new Human Torch in this. New
Really?
character, not explained by the end as to who he is, but it's clearly a mystery that they're going to go into. So this is going to be a 5-issue series. It is Maestro World War M, #1. Then we got a few variants. Here is the Ron Lim variant. Then we have the Libera variant. These are sort of our major players. And there's a 1 in 10 Peralta design variant that we're selling to our customers for $15.
Okay, next up we have issue 2 of Scorched, or some places call it Spawn the Scorched or Spawn Scorched. This is a really fun series. I really liked issue #1. And one of the main reasons I really like it is this is kind of just all-out action. This is take all the spawns, medieval spawn, she spawn, gunslinger spawn, vanilla original spawn, original flavor spawn, and they've got a mission, and they're going to fight their way into it. So this one's cool because it does harken back to what's been going on quite a few issues ago with the main spawn title, where we were introduced to the Plague Spawn, which has now been captured, and this evil military group, this general, is kind of injecting himself with Plague Spawn ooze, symbiote, whatever you want to call it, and kind of souping up him and some of his soldiers and everything. And it is up to our the Scorched, the team Scorched, to stop him. So this is kind of a cool, like, just all-out battle. I'm glad we kind of have one of those books too. We've got King Spawn, which seems to be a little bit more heavier, darker subject matter. Got Gunslinger Spawn, but this one seems like the classic, like, Avengers or Justice League, where you just want to see them all together and out fighting. So really cool issue of Scorched. And we are sold out of the variant. We have the Baren's A cover here with Redeemer.
All right, so I don't think I've talked about all the I Am Batmans for a little bit, but I am going to talk about issue #6 because this is the first issue where he has relocated officially to New York City. So Jace Fox as the next Batman, which is originally what the Future State series was called, has relocated to New York City and has left Gotham behind for the foreseeable future. It's supposed to be a permanent move. He's moved there with his family. And so what is the differences here? I think it's given the writer a little room to breathe. I think having him there with Gotham, everything is just so original Batman linked that I think getting him outside, that's a good idea. So in this issue, the powers that be in New York notice he's there. So you have the mayor, you've got the vice mayor, you've got the commissioner of New York's police, and they're all talking about what should we do now that, you know, this new Batman guy is here, and they know he's a different Batman too.
Yeah.
Well, you know, if I had to guess, I think most times people write Batman and police originally, it's a fight. It's the police go, no, we don't like that. This goes the other way. Mostly, they're happy about it. Now, not everyone though, but let's just say they may want to work with Batman, and I mean openly. So that's, you know, right away that's like, oh, that's sort of different, especially so early on. You know, this isn't a Commissioner Gordon situation where it like happened organically. Like they're sort of thinking, hey, maybe we should work with him right away. So I'm interested to see where that goes. But on the other hand, not everyone agrees. In fact, there are some officials who secretly disagree, and I think they're going to try to gum it up, mess things up. So let's see. So that's what's going on in I Am Batman #6. Jace is now in New York, and that's where he's going to be.
Do you think that it's like a new jumping on point?
I would say for sure, yeah. I mean, all the plot threads of the earlier ones have been pretty much dealt with for the most part. This is definitely a new story arc that they're beginning here.
I know John Ridley was excited to bring Batman to New York because Gotham already has its kind of rogues gallery and everything, but he can build all new rogues galleries and supporting characters and everything that aren't immediately, you know, going to be absorbed by all the other Bat books or whatever. This is kind of be its own little bubble.
It probably would have been good if they had started issue 1 in New York, but at least they got here just 6 issues in. So here is the Matina variant. And then we have this very cool Franklin Black History Month variant. Trying to get it not glare so much.
Cool, and let's go back in our time machine now, because what is this? Prophet #1 from Image Comics, from the hit artist from New Mutants, Rob Liefeld. I feel like he's really a rising star. Oh wait, sorry, this isn't a review from the early '90s. No, they are doing a kind of a facsimile edition of Prophet. There's no real ads in it, but a lot of people are really hyped about this. We do know that there's a Prophet movie, I believe, in the works. I'm not sure if it was a television or a movie, but there is some Prophet stuff in the works. And so they are putting out Prophet #1 again. So this is really interesting. I believe all the covers have been recolored. And yeah, check out some of these really cool variants. So we've got the Sam Keith cover. Bring some of the Max vibes.
Yeah, and I remember you found that these were like, a lot of them were like trading cards.
Yeah, these weren't original covers. I think some of these were like, I don't know, maybe came with Wizard Magazine or something like that. But they have been recolored, kind of sharpened up and everything. So we have the Sam Keith variant. And then check this one out. This one's so cool. This is just like every 90s kid's idea, like what he drew in his notebook. This is the Greg Capullo variant. Just a guy with a giant gun and water with little mounds of bullets, and just screams 90s Image Comics, but really cool. I'll be interested to see if this is indicative of something to come, if we're going to see a relaunch of Prophet or something coming up soon.
Okay, so one I wanted to mention, I did not give this one a read yet. This is Draculina #1. This is written by Christopher Priest. And so Draculina is a relatively new character. The question is she a young teenage runaway, or is she really the daughter of Lilith and the sister of Vampirella? The answer is it's complicated. I haven't read it, but you know, from reading about it, it's kind of like she's a little bit of both and might not know that she's a little bit of both. So just want to let you know that Draculina #1 is out this week. We've got some variants to show as well. Here is the March variant. Then we have the Rose Besh variant. I know some people are looking around for this one to continue their Besh collections. And lastly, there is, of course, a TMNT homage variant.
They keep on coming. Okay, next one I am going to talk about real quick is Devil's Reign #4 of 6. So, sounds bad that I don't have a whole lot to say about it, but it's because this is such a well-done story that it is, you do need to have been reading it, and it's such a, like, mature storytelling in the sense of, you know, the way a lot of Daredevil books can be, not in violence or anything, but it's just, it's very well constructed, interesting storytelling. But in this one, you know, we've still got Kingpin, who's fighting the feeling that he is missing something from his memory. Of course, we know that kind of the original knowing who Daredevil really is, and some of his greatest secrets have been erased from his mind, but he has been using the Purple Man to he kind of absorbs the Purple Man's power so he can influence people and everything. Let's just say that comes to a very interesting head at the end of this issue. We also get appearances from the Avengers, She-Hulk, Miles Morales. The other thing I did want to mention is we do get a little bit of Moon Knight in prison in this one as well.
I gotta check that out later.
I'm guessing the Moon Knight one-shot is going to end where you see him here, because he runs into someone else who is in prison, and it seems like they're like, let's team up and get out of here. And it seems like you're going to see, because he's kind of like finishing up with a fight as he comes out. So really cool to see that. But just a great, well-crafted story. We're right in the middle of it, so I'm interested to continue on, see how it's going. But yeah, if you've been reading it, pick it up. If you haven't, go to your store. They've probably got some reprints and back issues for this series, and you'll definitely want to read it because it is great. And we've got some variants for it. We do have that Black History Month variant I showed you earlier that's going to be pretty hard to find. We've got the X-Gwen variant by Cola.
In the Psylocke outfit.
Yep. And then we have the Bagley connecting variant. We do get a bit more of Typhoid Mary in here. And some pretty shocking things happen with her. And then finally we have the 1 in 25 U variant that we are selling to our customers for $20. I did want to mention too, we were kind of thinking, is Elektra going to stay around in this suit? What's going to happen with her? Marvel did just announce that Savage Avengers is returning, and this version of Elektra is on the team with this suit on. So she's not going anywhere, and I think that's awesome. I think New York could use two Daredevils.
Time for Elektra to be hanging out with Conan some more.
Yeah.
Okay, so also out this week is Batman Urban Legends number 12. So this, of course, has multiple stories all running at once in it. That's how this has been from the beginning. And this issue continues. It's the second part of the story where Batman and Zatanna are together, and they're trying to stop this spell. Like, every year they have to get together to try to stop some spell they started, which is kind of destroying the world. It's like a secret that just they have. So you get the second part of that, and that's going to be a 6-issue tale throughout the next, bunch of these.
Yeah.
There's also 3 other stories, but the one I'm going to talk about, of course, it's the second part of the Ace the Bat-Hound story. So in the second part of that, Ace is in the clutches of these evil people who experiment on animals, and he must escape. And of course, when he escapes, he doesn't escape alone. He escapes with some other animals who it looks like he's forming a little bit of a super animal team with.
That's awesome.
And that is just the second part to that storyline, and that's also going to be a 6-parter. So that's what's generally going on in Batman Urban Legends number 12. And we have this Anad variant right here.
Next up I have Amazing Spider-Man 88.BEY. So this is the dot beyond. They're kind of the little in-between issues that go on the story. And this one focuses on, I don't even know if Spider-Man is in this at all. This is focusing on, let's see, the former Prowler, Hobby Brown. And he has taken on the kind of mantle of Hornet. And how does that pertain to Spider-Man? Well, this actually begins back during King in Black. We actually see the events of King in Black going on in New York and what he was doing there and him trying to save people, which I thought was cool, when we're this far away from an event, to still be like, no, that happened. And there's characters that maybe that affected more than other ones. But this is called, the Slingers. And that was an old team that was led by the original Hornet. And now it seems like there is going to be a new version formed with Ricochet and some of the other characters from the original one. And it's teased that they're maybe going to go on to be something else. I don't know if they're getting their own book or they're going to be part of the main Spider-Man story. But a very interesting book, especially when it's Marvel characters that I'm not super familiar with to kind of learn about them and everything. But cool issue. .bey. Not necessary if you're just trying to follow the main story, but if you want to get everything, you want to be ahead of some maybe new story arcs coming up, you'll want to pick this one up. We also have the variant cover, and the variant cover is by Basil Dua.
All right, another one we want you to know about that is out this week is a facsimile version of Edge of the Spider-Verse #2. This, of course, is the first appearance of Spider-Gwen, who later calls herself Ghost Spider. But I'm sure you've seen this one before. It's a very famous cover, very famous issue now. So this is your chance to get a cover price facsimile where you can read it, check it out, have a nice brand new copy all to yourself. So this is out as well this week.
Talk about a quick rise to stardom to have Spider-Gwen there, and just a few years later, she's a hit movie character and had multiple series. So cool. And my last one is to show off that TMNT Best of Jennika is out. More recent addition to the TMNT family. But if you want to get, I believe it has her first kind of appearances and some of her multiple miniseries in it. This is an oversized issue for only $5.99. So her first appearance is hard to get now. If you want to read it, it's right here.
All right, so the last two I'm going to bring up, I didn't have a chance to read this, but a new one from Aftershock is called Land of the Living Gods. And from what we've been hearing and what people have been telling us, this is a pretty hot issue that is just kind of selling out all over the place. So I've not gotten to read it yet, but just, you know, we like to pass on all information that anyone could want to have for New Comic Day. So this new one from Aftershock is flying off shelves as well. And then lastly, out this week is from Bad Idea, Monster Kill Squad #4. This is the end of the Monster Kill Squad series, and more than that, this is the last Bad Idea comic. They did the final 5. There's been a lot of delays, as there has been with all different publishers. And so Final 5 was supposed to wrap up late December, but this is it. So this is the end of Bad Idea as we know them. They've sent us a lot of emails that have basically said that, like, we're not continuing. It's the end of us as you know us, which means they're going to shift to something
It's one of those,
else.
like, what do you keep saying as you know us?
Yeah, them and their trickery. So just want to let you know, final issue of that is out. And as with all Bad Idea stuff, it does have a backup story. They always have the unannounced backup story, and the one in this is called Spark.
Okay.
So. Well, that is it. A lot of comics to talk about.
Yes.
I think we went through, like 26 plus comics today.
Yeah.
So I hope we've done our job and we've told you a little bit more than you would know walking into your store without this show. If you're watching us on YouTube, please hit subscribe. That way you will know when we host more of these. Of course, we do this every Tuesday. Our next show will be on Friday, where we do Comics from the Future, where we talk about all the comics that are available to order before our orders are due as retailers. Typically, we'll get screens and images of comic covers like that have just been released. So very important show if you want to get ahead of the curve and know what to order when it's still available. But thank you all for watching, and have a great week. Hopefully you get all the books that you want when you go in your local store.
Good luck out there.
Yes.